Okay. So I've known Di Nailon for a few years now, and I see Di as a passionate and generous advocate for young children in particular, who've been her life's focus, and also as an encourager for everyone to find their creativity and flourish. I'm amazed at her energy and drive. Her PhD in education and OAM show her determination and drive to be good at and of use in whatever she does. It is why she is involved in so many groups and takes lead roles in them, particularly in the early childhood space, including co-chairing the Before Early Years Coalition, which was set up by the Tasmanian State Government as, and this is a quote, a movement for change to ensure every child in Tasmania is cared for and nurtured through the early years from birth to age 4, no matter what. And Di is still helping to educate our teachers in training at UTAS. On a more personal note, Di opens her well-equipped art studio most Mondays for people to come and try different ways of being creative and just ask people to go and have fun. And Di is fun. Di is committed to community and works hard to build and keep community going in the area where we both are living, as well as more generally. Di is passionate, energetic, creative and brave, and I look forward to the journey she will take us on today. Thanks, Di.
Only because she does play it better than me and she's way more spontaneous than me. You're going to help me up the stairs, aren't you?
I'm just going to make sure you don't trip over the cord.
Oh, okay. Right. I've actually got a bag full of musical instruments. And I just think that there are some people out there who have got music inside of them, because I get by with a little help from my friends, even something like an hour's session like this. So has anybody ever played one of these before? Little shaker. Oh, whoa! And your little bit of a Anna. Huh? Yeah, got that one? Yeah, because I'm going to do a little bit of music because really I'm very, very boring. So the little bit of music in this is just going to keep us going because the words are going to come because I'm actually an improviser. So sometimes I'm going to sing to you. And sometimes I don't know what I'll do because it's just coming through. So rhyme happens and all these sorts of things happen. So if you're ready, is anybody like to go with a shaker? Oh, come on. Oh, this is the age group where if we don't do it, I'm actually thinking that I'm in the same age group as everybody here. And we all are we not? We are happy every day when we wake up and say, yes, I'm still here. You want to do that? Okay, come on. You're really beautiful at this. Look, I've got more. So very quiet. Any introverts here? There are introverts. So if you're introverted, you're actually happy on the inside, even though you might be frowning on the outside. Any introverts to play it? Oh yeah, wow! Introverts love these because they don't, and I'm not going to. Yeah, there you go. Anybody now for? I know you want one. I've never played an egg before. Eggs are just, I've done this my whole life. I'm faking it until I make it to get through this hour. It's kind of a comedy session. I know you want one. Because they're quiet and they're kind of happy. So this one is a nice little playing along. Because this is what the story of my life, by the way. I know that this is what I know you want to do. And what else have I got in here? Don't you love this? You love somebody who does this and puts it upon you. Oh, thank you. There's nothing in that one, sadly. I wish there was. It's a money pouch. I'll just hand that one around just before I leave. Anybody really care? Oh, look, you look like a player. Yeah. I'm not going to say that again. It probably is, isn't it? Who's in here? Okay, all right. I'm now going to, don't we love it? We always get a help up the steps, but I'm going to lift that one up here. So, hello. Oh, Carmen Cedar. Hello. And you know that you wanted to sneak in and nobody thought that you were coming in. But Carmen Cedar's there, and Carmen Cedar knows that I'm probably going to sing most of this, and most of what's going to be coming out of my mouth will be coming out of my mouth for the first time. So if you think this is rehearsed, it might look like it's rehearsed, but it's not. So this is where I live. Would you believe that I made my way to this space and I live here, and it's Ponrabble. It is just so beautiful, and I am so fortunate. Yeah, I love that I'm in a room where, okay, I actually still colour my hair. I haven't kind of had the courage to go grey yet, but I'm with you. I'm with all of you. It's called grey power, or if you're afraid of it, it's slightly red power. But, you know, we know where we are. We know who we are, because it's taken a really, really long time to get in here. And those of us who were born during and just after World War II, don't you love it? Those of us who were born during and just after World War II, we just believe we're really lucky to be here for this length of time. So, you know, that I guess is me. Born to parents. Oh, I'm Di Nailon. Yeah, I'm Di. So if anybody wants to start chatting, and you know, we can start doing that. But born just after the war to parents who were lucky to have survived the war. I think we're a pretty fortunate bunch of people, and we've found our way, many of us, I think, a bit like I have, on this meandering journey, wondering whether or not you could or couldn't do stuff. Do you know I only got my PhD about 2 years ago? Yeah, like a late bloomer. And everybody else around me. Been working in universities since 1970, but everybody around me was bright. And I just happened to be able to sing and dance, and so I was doing all the stuff at uni that other people didn't want to do. And I was having so much fun, but also unsure. I don't know whether a lot of people have felt like that during their life. Can I do this? So it took me so much time to work out that I could. And then Karen Penzis comes along, and I'm just about finished my PhD, but I really needed to tie it together. And a beautiful, come on, put your hand up, the beautiful father of a beautiful daughter actually got me through a couple of years ago, because you do need to get by with a little help from your friends. And I think that's how I've lived my life. I've got by with a little help from my friends, never knowing where we're meandering to, and knowing that sometimes we find ourselves in a space where. So my general direction today is just going to take us to, you know, it's like, what do you really want to know about me? All I know is I downloaded my CV. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, publications, page 5 and page 6. When you've been around a really long time, you have this many pages. I reckon that I would probably have fewer pages than most of the people in this room, who've had businesses, who've had children, who've had ups and who've had downs. I just happen to belong to the most beautiful family in the whole wide world, and my niece, who's here, and her partner, who's here, have helped me get by with a little help from my friends. I think I've done nothing by myself throughout my life. I've actually counted on a whole range of people, family included. You know, my mum, who didn't have... Am I allowed to just talk like this? Because I'm talking off the cuff, and eventually I will start singing, because it's going to be on the spot, because I have nothing in my head. Froth and bubble. I've always thought of myself as froth and bubble. That's why I continue to die. I think all power to those of us who have gone grey and are proud. You know, grey power? Sometimes when you go to something in town and all the grey power is there, I just want to stand up and say, we did it and we're still here. I love that. Imagine if we took to the streets and we took to the streets as grey power. I have all of these dreams in my head and we just say, for heaven's sakes, get this world right. Come on, stop all this mucking around and having all of these wars and doing all of these things. And we're not shifting until you do. And we're going to have nappies brought to us as we sit on our walkers in Main Street. Imagine that. Imagine the kind of things that we could do now. So I know that you really, are you really here to hear about me? I don't find myself fascinating. That's the trouble. I think I've always thought that everybody else around me, including this audience, is so beautiful, so inspiring, so generous, so keen on life. I've always thought that maybe there's something I need to be aspiring to. And then you get asked to do this kind of a gig. And you think, okay, through my life, yep, I've got all of these pages off, I've got some publications. But you know what? Almost every one of my publications was with a group of friends. It was never alone. It was with those people who I know more, know better, you know, have done more. And so it's been getting by with a little help from my friends. So living in Queensland, in Brisbane, with a mum and a dad who were just beautiful people. Mum, brilliant in business, wonderful. She knew how to get help. She knew who to go to and how to actually make her businesses work. And my beautiful dad, I think he really needed to have gone beyond a Year 6 education, because I think he would have been an amazing academic because he had a head for thinking. Beautiful inspiration. I have the most beautiful sister in the whole wide world who supports everybody. She is, if you know, like, she's there. I reckon I make it to here because she really does give everybody. Doesn't she, Sheridan? She's amazing. She gets by, you know, she supports and helps me and helps everybody to get by for sure. So, just this is the view from my place. That is now my place. I did have a partner, a beautiful man called Joe. And we bought this together and we shared this, and he went and died on me. They do that. These partners, don't they? They went and die on you. But what a gorgeous man, because I think that a lot of our generation, like beautiful Joe, didn't have the opportunities, you know, to go on. And I figure myself lucky because I got to go on because Mum and Dad sacrificed for us so well. So some of you have a musical instrument in your hand, don't you? Okay, musical instruments. Come on, shake. Ba-da-da, ba-shake. Ba-da-da, ba-shake. Ba-da-da. Come on, if you've got it, gotta shake it. Now, you know that you got by through life 'cause you had a lot of friends out there. And that's what happened to me always. I had a lot of friends out there. Well, thank you in the early years in Queensland. My mum and dad, they made sure Helen and I got an education because they weren't educated at all. They wanted to see that we could grow and be very, very tall in whatever pursuit that we came into. So we just happened to get into education. Got into education. And you know, I started being the most crappy primary school teacher ever because I thought you had to boss the kids around. But then I went into a place where it was only a 2-teacher school. And guess what? You could pick up all the desks and you could unscrew all of the chairs And you had a principal out there, and he said, "Go, Di, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want." So then I did with my kids, and I'd had a little bit of sporting background, only because Sheridan's mother, my sister, she was a great sportswoman. I've always tagged along for some reason. It's like Helen got into the team, and I got into the team because I was a trier, very, very trying. They couldn't leave me out because Helen might just jump out of the team, and she was a sports genius. So there we were, growing up, my sister and I, in Brisbane. And she was just such a gem and so beautiful, and I was there alongside of her. So every year in the sporting team, I did something different. So one year I high jumped, not very well. One year I long jumped, not very well. One year when I was in the fight, keep going, because I can keep doing this forever. Here we go, keep going, you little musical people there. So there was I doing every little thing until the last year of high school, when I was still in the team and there was nobody running the 800 metres. So I thought, yeah, I can do this. So I went and got hold of some spikes. You know when you wear spikes? Yeah, not very bright. I've never been very bright. Not ever come top of the class or anything like that. Just really an also-ran. So anyway, there I was with the longest spikes in the whole wide world for a sprinter. And here I was running 800 metres. So I got halfway around the track on one of the meets. Keep going, because I'm full of it. Here we go. Well, there I was halfway around the track, and my foot broke, didn't it? Oh, because you shouldn't be wearing long spikes when you're running long distance. You should be wearing short spikes. I found that out the hard way. But do you know what? When people love you, because you try, and I'm very trying, so when people love you, they put you on a pedestal. Guess who was captain of the sports team that year in high school? On crutches. It was so cool. I've done so many stupid things in my life. So here we go. We go into high school, and my little sister, Helen, who's Sheridan's mother, my little sister is a sporting athlete, isn't she? So I don't do anything in high school until Helen comes along. And that was when I actually got back into sport. So Helen, my beautiful sister, she does everything. She's so kind and she's so clever, and she looks after everyone. I love my sister Helen. She's the one who should be here, because I'm just an also-ran. There you go. So going into then becoming a teacher. So here I was being a teacher, but guess what? I really started loving arts, and I love doing the arty kinds of things, especially being up on stage. Hey, you keep going guys, keep going. When you get tired, just pass the shaker on to somebody else when you get tired. I know, I can do that. I can go on like this all day and all night. So sorry, but you know, you might. So here we go. So then I get into teacher education, and I get in with the wrong crowd. Well, we, the teacher education students, one day they said out loud, "Where have that group gone? They've taken off. They're not in class." Well, guess where we were? We're heading up the north coast. And we almost spun out. You know when you almost spin out in a car? You don't actually have a crash, but oh gosh, you're very, very lucky. So having come back and faced the music, and we were the naughty little group who were doing sorts of things that weren't quite conformist. Don't you love the non-conformists? I reckon most of the people here are non-conformist. Yeah, so there we were, and you know what? When we were carpeted for taking off and not being in class, well, the people who I was carpeted with, there they all are now. Most of them are major academics who've made major... So they've just gone on to do some amazing things. So sometimes conforming is good. Conforming is bad when you know that you need to shake up the system. And you know that you do when you choose the songs that you like, and they're all about bucking the system. Yeah, there's a few songs right now in this world that I reckon that we ought to be a-singing, and we'll take to the streets. And I reckon that when we need our diapers changed, I reckon we've got to take our diapers and everything like that. So I'm saying let's revolt, and we can be the start of it here in Tasmania. So I'm going to lower it and give your hands a rest. I'm lowering it and giving your hands a rest. Thank you, everybody. You can pass it on if you feel you need to and you're feeling very embarrassed about having to try a shaker because this woman is so crazy. I think being crazy is okay. I think being crazy gets you through life. I think being crazy is why most of us who should have grey hair are here. We're still alive because we are a little crazy, and we do seek a little help from our friends all the way through, which is what I've done. I happened to have, the history of Di. Oh, so many mistakes, beautiful, rich mistakes. They were called husbands and lovers. So I could sing a lot of songs to my husbands and lovers over time. I don't know whether I didn't appreciate them or they didn't appreciate me, but gee, there were quite a number of them over time. I won't ask people to raise their hands, lovers above 3 or lovers about 5. I think I wrote a poem about having so many lovers, and I don't know whether it was me or them. But I think what you do over time is that, as you all know, you make peace with all of that, don't you? You just say, yep, make peace with that. That's who I was, that's who they were. And I probably needed to learn lessons, and I think I learned a lot of lessons. I chose well. Because of the lessons that I learned, I reckon I chose very, very well, and I thank them all. And I'm not going to name them because naming names, it's a bit terrible, isn't it? All I know is that they were always wonderful. Always around me, my family, I have the most beautiful son called Tom. And I now have a stepdaughter. So my beautiful partner, Joe, died about 5 years ago. He set me up here in Tasmania. We've done a lovely job. We followed my niece. I never had an original thought my whole life. So Joe and I followed our niece after me at Queensland University of Technology for nearly 30 years. I give that away because I love my niece more, and I wanted to come down and be with my niece more, and I thought, I'm going to slide out of QUT while never have had a PhD. And I remember my lovely boss, Gerald Ashby, saying to me one day, Di, one day you've got to get your PhD. He didn't have one, but he was famous up there. I thought maybe if I go somewhere where maybe I can become famous, I never have to actually do a PhD. Yeah, I did. I needed to, only because, you know what? When you're this age, you can confess up, can't you? I didn't get a full-time job at UTAS. I was passed up for a 24-year-old. I thought with all my experience I might get the job. I didn't get the job. The 24-year-old with a PhD got the job. And you know what you do when you're old and you're almost grey, except you hide it? You enrol, don't you, in a PhD, and you just do everything that you can to get through. That's why, only a couple of years ago, that was why I graduated. Slow bloomer, slow starter, but I reckon, how many things have you ever done in your life just in spite, just because you've really got to? Is that a song? Spite. Doing it out of spite. I'm doing this out of spite. Can't you tell? I've got a PhD now. I'm really Dr. Di. But it doesn't really matter because I'm still teaching. I'm still getting on there with the students. I'm still doing all the things that I've always done. Has it even really made a difference? No. But I can stand up here and say the grey hairs can do it. You can start at any stage of your life as long as you have a little help from your friends. And that's where the beautiful Karen came in and helped me to get through. She saw me through my PhD a few years ago. And, you know, and I think we've all got so much that we can continue giving. And so through life, my niece Sheridan's there, a little help from my friends. Damien, who I call up all the time, a little help. I don't think I've had an original thought or original anything in my whole life. I think I keep grabbing on the coattails of other people. I look back at my, this CV that I've got. I look back at my CV and I see people like the beautiful Rhonda Livingston. And Rhonda won't mind if I use her whole name. So Rhonda was a student of mine once. And what we worked out is that, you know, you could just play with ideas. And I think that's the thing at the university that I don't want to leave. I'm going to be 94, still being a tutor, as long as I can make it one step at a time being a tutor. I'm just going to keep doing that. So, and you know what? Students don't care. Students love you anyway, wrinkles and all, as long as you feel like you can have a little bit of fun with them and absolutely accept who people are and take them up. And I think that's sort of been something all my life. I've worked with brilliant people. I take Edwina here. Beautiful Edwina. Open up my house. I finally realised when I came to live in a place like this, I can't live there alone. You've got to share it. You've got to say, come on everybody, come and play, come and make things. I didn't think that I was an artist. You know what? I've been a not anything my whole life. Wriggle around and put your hand up if you think you've never been a not anything. I'm actually wanting people to move around in their chairs right now. Put your hands up, everybody, just for a moment. Come on. Come on, put your hands up. Put your hands up, everybody. So you know that you're confessing to not doing everything you really want to do for the rest of your life, but you've done a whole pile of things and people love you for it. How you know that? And you know that your family love you no matter what. Yeah, and wriggle on the chair, because we've still got it. Wriggle on the chair, we've still got it. And right about the shoulders, we've still got it. Do you know what? I reckon put us on a dance scene and we would show those guys how to absolutely do it. Remember growing up, now I'm not supposed to be giving a speech about that, I'm supposed to be giving a speech about me. Isn't it awful when you think, oh, what can I talk about? And then you look at your CV and you say, holy crap, I've done all of that. No wonder people never read my CV, because there's, you know, if you really think back through your life, all of those little things that you've done. And for me, I've been lucky enough, because Mum and Dad did insist that my sister and I, that we got an education. Beautiful stuff. And then you get the education. How many of you guys have done this? And so then you say, you've got the education, because that's an era that we were all brought in. Get an education or you'll be fine in life. And then you say to your children, yes, get an education, but you don't really need to if you follow your passions. And so then you have a son. So here's me fessing up. Then you have a son who turns around at age 19 and says, Mum, why didn't you make me go to school? You know, the mum who sends him off to a free school first off, and then knows, and my beautiful son who had the most awful illness. You know, when, I don't know, it's, you get by with a little help from your friends, but you also get by with pain. And I think my biggest moment was when I was told that my son was going to die within 5 years. And then he turns around at age 21 and says, Mum, I'm still alive. What am I going to do? It's like, whoa. And he is. He's still alive. only got a little bit of lungs left, but boy, you know, he uses them, works on job sites. He's a, you know, and I think if you take my mum and dad who say, okay, we're going to give you girls an education because we didn't have one. I don't know whether you're in this boat. How many people think like this? Your parents wanted you to have an education. Then you went through all of those marvellous 60s and the freedom movements and things. Did you do that? Did you do freedom movements? How many people here wore those paisley dresses that you could see through? Come on. And if you're male, you can put your hand up as well. No, come on, remember those hippie eras, and you just, you know, you took all of that challenge up. So then you challenged all of that. So you said to your children, honey, you be who you need to be, and I will support you. Yeah, it's an interesting conundrum. So my beautiful son, he turns around and he just did whatever he could do to live. And he became strong and wonderful and just the most beautiful young man. Yet my gorgeous sister Helen produces Sheridan and her brother Brendan. And these guys did study, did go on. And my beautiful Sheridan one day, I've always got by with a little help from my friends. Sheridan rings me up one day and she says, do you love stories? You can cope with a story in someone's... Anyway, Sheridan rings me up and she says, Di, my brain's going to mush. What can I do? And I say, sweetheart, you can help me at uni. I've always... Everybody, got by with a little help from my friends. Come on. Got by with a little help from my friends. I love you. Thank you very much. That's good. So Sheridan comes. I've always done that at uni. When I was at QUT in Queensland, I used to get the people who used to live with my son and the young people, and I'd get them to come in and I'd sit them with a chair beside me in my office, and I would get them doing part of the publications I was starting to write. I'd get them doing the research and things like that. Some of them went on and got their doctorate. You know, I've always never done it alone. Does that mean I'm lazy? Or does it mean I'm dull or I'm thick? Never ever got very good grades at school or anything like that. So Sheridan comes in and she does. So Sheridan's here at uni. Can I talk about you, my darling, because I love you so much. So Sheridan comes into uni and she's in there and everybody can see how bright she is, can't they? As I'm trying to get some work done and have Sheridan do all my research for me. And everybody then said, Sheridan, could you come do some research for us? Sheridan, can you start your doctorate? Sheridan, they didn't actually say, Sheridan, can you finish your doctorate before your auntie does? Because your auntie is a little bit slower, a little bit doing a whole range of things. You know, the things that find, I think it's things that find you in your life. Does anybody know here, Elizabeth Daly? Look at that. Look at that. Elizabeth Daly, I accidentally find. How many things have you done in your life that you've accidentally found? I accidentally found Elizabeth Daly because here am I at UTAS down here, having moved from Queensland, coming down here to UTAS and thinking I would really like to meet a range of people and get involved in committees and all sorts of things like that, because that's what I did up in Queensland. I was teaching for nearly 30 years at Queensland University of Technology. Not very bright, I might add. Never got my PhD up there, but I knew the most beautiful people in the world, had great graduate students, and I loved my life up there. And come down here and anybody here, put your hand up if you came down here and you really didn't have a network when you first arrived. Yeah. And you get in and you gradually build your network, don't you? And I built my network at UTAS because that was my way in. I don't know whether you guys remember your ways in, but my network, just a beautiful network of people, and they supported so much. And so one day I go along, I find out about Northern Early Years Group, early childhood age, only early childhood age. Everybody put your hands up like this. Go. Come on, go, 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 go. Do you know that you can face life if you're willing to have your armpits visible and facing the world. I worked that one out a really long time ago. I really, really did. So, so coming down here, I lifted up my armpits because whenever they said at UTAS, would anybody like to go along to? And I just put my hand up. I raised my armpit in everything that I did, where I met Elizabeth Daly in early childhood. Elizabeth Daly, the most beautiful person in the world. If anybody wants to get in touch with Elizabeth, she's having a bit of a struggle at the moment because her knee went on her. So she's, having to have a little bit of care. And if you know Elizabeth, it's like, whew, I want to get out there again and I want to do these things again. Elizabeth showed me the way down here to get into the community and to do a whole range of things with the community. I really did get by with a little help from my friends, always bringing her in. And I think that's actually what works. We've all done it, haven't we? Got by with a little help from our friends. And I think it's knowing who to call out to and how you call out. And I think that's actually what I've done all of my life, and that's what I'm still doing. But the beautiful Elizabeth, if you can get in, give her a call. Because she is having to have a bit of respite care, that the whole caring. Early childhood for me, I've been in early childhood all of my life, and I still think I'm basically 4 years old, need a little help from my friends with no matter what I do. And the people in my life that have given me help. Now in here, where I've come to, can somebody tell me what the time is? How am I going time-wise? What have I got left? How much time have I got left?
10 minutes, Don.
10 minutes! So, don't you love a 10-minute... Oh yeah, maybe there's a few questions. People might say, no, but you're so boring and you're dull. So something like that. You know what? I discovered music because I'm a non-musician who learnt the piano. Mum insisted on us learning the piano and never really got any good at it, but wanted to have a go at everything. When you do a little bit of that, you ought to see the musical instruments I've got at home. And so that getting by with a little help from my friends and with my friends and just making do all the time. Can you play us whatever chord you like, go for it. Edwina is brilliant. Yeah, you are. So just change the tune whenever you want to. Change the tune and I will follow along. Change the tune whenever you want to. We started a little band here. Yeah, come on. Yeah, go for it, Kate. Do 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 do. Now egg shakers. Keep on going and I'll sing a song. Keep on going and I'll sing along. And I'll tell you the people that I've met down here who are just wonderful. I've worked with over time, I've sung with them, so creating a little band on the banks of Pond Rapple. They came along, they started to sing a song, and I get to teach a bit of this at UTAS. I think that this is a bonus. Because everything seemed to find its way to me. I really had to look out to make it. I befriended lots of people who cared for me, and I'm trying to fake it. And they helped me along, they helped me sing my song. They helped me in all the work I've done. So right now, volunteering, which is what I do, there is the beautiful early years groups that I belong to. There are teachers out there who belong to. And then there's the B4 Coalition. The B for coalition is there. If you go back home and Google it, see what it can offer you, because these days before is a very good community to enjoy. You can get out there and work for the very young, from pre-birth to age 4. So if I can share my message with you, I've had a very beautiful ride. I've hung on the coattails of a lot of good people, and I've taken it all in my stride. I lost my partner, but I didn't lose my son. I gained a beautiful stepdaughter, and she's coming along. She's a wonderful artist, and she has fun too, and she works with the kids who everybody else won't. Oh, she's an amazing young woman. So I seem to have captured some people in my life who work beside me. We don't get into strife. We try and lift up the world for everybody. And you know what? You're still doing it too. I reckon the grey hairs, and those are us who cover up, I reckon we who are sharing our good fortune with our children and with others, and I reckon there's a whole pile of people out there in this group who have done way more than I ever have. I keep wondering, why do you get asked, Di? Why do you get asked? Is it because you can just provide a bit of entertainment? And that's okay, because that's enough. Because you'll stride along and we'll all sing a very special song. So if you haven't got an instrument, can you clap your hands? Here you go. Come on, everybody. Clap in your hands and you can sing along. I'm making up my life in song. I had wonderful parents who've since passed, and they believed in me. And my sister Helen, who I poured on a pedestal. She's way better than me. She's a softly spoken woman, way more talent, but you know what? When you got brass, when you got sass, you get out there, because we get the masses along, we do, with our song. So thank you for playing along. Well, I made it to Tasmania. I made it to UTAS. I made it to the group out where I live. And I opened my house, as others could do, because if you've got a view like that, you want to share it. You don't want to be alone. You want to give it to people. So while I'm not very good at the arts, I've happened to work in my life with lots of people who are. So I've picked up a little bit along the way, a little bit of music and a little bit of play. And I've worked out that life can be very, very good, and I'm sure you share it just like I do. I'm sure you open your doors just like I do. I'm sure you welcome people in just like I do. I'm sure you go and give yourself and your body and your time and your effort to a whole pile of volunteer organisations just like I do. And it's really funny, because I think we're the ones who benefit most of all by doing the giving. And I think as we keep going, we're all going to do that. We're all going to keep giving, because that's who we are. We all are very quiet stars. Sometimes you make it rhyme and sometimes you don't. And sometimes you're lucky. Sometimes you gain people. I kept my son, who's still alive and who's the most beautiful young man and doing what he could. He actually digs underground. And I tell you what, everything he's ever done is safe and sound. And my beautiful man, who I lost a few years ago, he set me up. He set me up here so I could do things like go to China 11 times. No, how many times did I go? 9 times. Went to China so we could deliver early childhood understanding and knowledge. Because I kept working for QUT as I kept working for UTAS. Isn't it funny? You can do a few things at once, can't you? You all know, because you're master jugglers, how many things do you carry and do at once? I'm sure I'm not the only one. So I think life is pretty good, really. I think we're lucky to be here, truly. I think we've got our families and we've got our friends, and I think we're the lucky ones, because fun never ends. Thank you.
So before you go, does anyone game enough to ask a question?
What was the topic of the PhD?
Oh, the beautiful topic of my PhD. Thank you for asking that. I think I remember, even though it was a few years ago. Gee, I can't even remember what the topic was now, isn't it? Short-term memory. What I did was I examined people's change over time when they engaged in professional learning, and it was about their epistemological and ontological beliefs, their beliefs about knowledge and knowing and what changes. And I worked with a group of family daycare people to see what changes over time. And basically the PhD just simply says, do things again and again and again and again, and change happens. You don't do it once, you know. Hey, you could have me back again and again. No, don't do that. Yeah, but that's what it was all about, basically, and measuring changes in epistemological beliefs. Yeah, which is the beliefs about knowledge and knowing and how that changes over time when you meet again and again and again, which is what you guys are doing. Every time you have a guest speaker that comes, your knowledge base changes a little bit over time because you come regularly and you do it again and again and again. I think we've actually lost that a little bit. We think that a one-off is going to do stuff, but it doesn't really. You need to do it again and again and again. And that's why we who we are, we support our kids and our grandkids, and we work with them, and we're the ones with patience to do it again and again and again with love. And things change. Children's change. Their knowledge changes. That's basically what I found out. Thank you. So no one's asked where I live and if you want to come out to Arts Play at Windermere, because I really want to come out there and play in the arts. And you're very welcome. I do live at Windermere on the banks, Ponrabble. That's called Ponrabble, that area of the river. And you are very welcome to come out and play in the arts. Because that's the other thing, being an early childhood person, you learn through play. We still learn through play when we open ourselves up. You know, I could give an hour, I'd love to give a speech way better than a story about myself. Why do you think I duck and hide behind, you know, making music and fun and laughter? It's hard to examine who you are. It really, really is. This was one of the hardest gigs I've ever done. And there was no way I could come with a prescribed script, because I owe my life to so many people. Family, friends, the educators that I've worked with, the beautiful people at QUT who believed in me. I've had the best life with a little help from my friends.
Okay, so here is our little gift of membership. If you're not a member of Friends, you now are, and you can always extend if that you're already a member.
Do I get to be friends with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Yes,
you.
please.
Okay, that's it. I'll get down off this.
So, yeah, I think I'd love to thank Di for her presentation. It's very much a meandering journey. It's like one of my favourite bushwalks where you're not quite sure where you're going. And my style of bushwalking is I stop and look at everything, smell everything, listen to the birds. It takes forever to get there, but, you know, I take so much more in as opposed to other members of my family that just walk at dad's speed, let's call it, from one end to the other. So I love that. Another little thing I was thinking about when I was sitting there was something they said about Margaret Olley, the painter, who produced so many more paintings towards the end of her life, and she said that she was like an old apple tree putting out more flowers. And I thought that was just wonderful sort of metaphor for what we can achieve towards. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Can everyone thank Di for her?
Thank you. Can I just throw in a thank you, Damien, for loving my Sheridan?